We can't wait any longer, ladies and gentlemen. The great Ross Cameron, who is obviously not here with us at the moment, will be here shortly. Here's more food for Vinny and coffee, I'm sure. So we're going to dive straight in. So Ross Cameron will be here shortly, and thank you for that. So away we go. And our first guest today is the wonderful writer Adam Courtenay. Adam, welcome to our little festival.
Great to be here. I'm very, very happy to be talking with all you guys. It's going to be fun.
Okay. Now, Adam, question number one. Obviously, with the genius of your father, Bryce, was the writing something that came intuitively to you, or did you read your father's work and say, I can tell the same sort of story that Dad has in a different way. I'm a different writer.
Yeah, look, it comes in. You learn these things by osmosis. We always work together as an older guy mentoring a younger guy when I'm doing like school essays and things like that. And I noticed how brilliant, incredibly brilliant he was at rearranging my own words, which were pretty pathetic at the age of 15 or 16. And it just became a thing that we always used to do. So by the time it got to The Power of One, which was his first book, he was asking me, because we'd had so much going on together, he wanted to get my feedback, which of course I was going, oh, of course, Dad, but who am I? I'm only 20-something at the time, but it didn't matter. So it just became a thing that we always talked about each other's writing, and he wanted to know what I thought, this was working, whether that was working. So he was just as interested in my opinion, as I was. He used to write fiction, and some of the fiction, it just wasn't really my style, although I always thought he was a wonderful writer. I thought to myself, I want to do what he's doing and find these unknown stories, but I want to do true ones. So we always had a bit of a difficulty there. He said, it's all about the imagination. It's much more about the imagination. And I said, well, no, I think it's more about the facts, what really happened here. But I've taken a lot of his ideas and put them into my writing, which we can discuss at some point. Yeah.
Did being this collaborative situation you had with your father, which I think is brilliant, I wish I had have had it with my father. I didn't really have that discussion period with my father. I had my first real talk with my father when I was about 32. I came back from England and we sat down together in the Newport Arms pub and had a beer, first beer we ever had together. And I sat there and I thought, this is an extraordinary feeling, to having my first discussion with my father.
I'm amazed it took that long.
Yeah.
For 32.
Yeah.
Well, you think it was easy with him? You think he'd be an easy bloke to son to have?
Was it something, I have no idea, but was it something related to, you were an actor and he wanted you to be a dentist or something like that?
No. My father was an actor, and quite a well-known actor with J.C. Williamson's theatres.
Okay.
And he opened up to me. We weren't kind of father and son. We were mates. Two actors talking about, and he said to me, when you go on tour again here in Australia, tell me what theatre you like. And it was the Perth, His Majesty's Theatre in Perth.
Right.
And it was strange when I got back to Sydney after a tour, and that was with How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And when I got back to Sydney, like a year later, I said, Fred or Dad, it was His Majesty's Theatre in Perth, and he said that was my favourite theatre as well. So it was wonderful. So you had that relationship with your father.
We had a great relationship growing up. I none of the, he was talking to me. He was telling me, as you would read in the book, he was telling me ghost stories from the age of about 5 or 6 onwards, and they're fantastic ones, and brilliant ones. And there were stories of him meeting a ghost in the mines of Rhodesia. And then he'd refine it and get better at it. He would actually improve on it each time. He told it about 10 times. It wasn't just to me, it was to my mates and stuff. So I was like, how come he didn't have that in the last time? But then he was sort of exaggerating and getting better and better at it. So we had a really good rapport. And I'd ask him questions, what was it like? And he told me all sorts of things. And of course, much of it was BS. Now this is Bryce. This is where the problems began. But that's what I loved at the first. He told me he was related to Robin Hood.
Yes.
And I go, wait a second, Robin Hood doesn't exist. And then he said something along the lines of, well, you know, Courtenays were kings of Jerusalem during the Crusades. So I was like, really, Dad? Because I'm 8. You know, what are I going to know? And I believed half of it. I thought, then as I got older, I thought, you know.
But that's a nice belief to grow up with.
Yeah, it was a good belief. But I had said it to my teacher once. He said, bullshit. I went, wait a second, my dad said that.
He's pulling your leg. Oh, he's just being a dad, isn't
he's
he?
being a dad, but Bryce was a very particular kind of dad.
Yeah.
And I think one of the really interesting things, he told me lots of stories about South Africa. Because it came across as this sort of ghostly, weird place where dark shadows, and that's how he built it up in my mind, because he built up all these stories. And then there's the weird thing is when he started writing The Power of One when I was 24, 25. All of those stories are back in The Power of One. So he'd been beta testing me. He'd been saying, I wonder what my kids think of this. Yeah. Let's see how they go. He'd refine them until they're right. And then they find themselves in The Power of One. They're sitting there. And I go, he's been testing me for 20 years.
Yeah,
you know?
But tell me this, Adam. What interests me, as an actor who's done quite a lot of films, was Bryce happy? Were you happy with the book, the screenplay from the book of the novel?
I think he was happy. Look, you know, get a worldwide film. Who's going to be unhappy?
Sure.
Let's be honest about it. Apparently, the story was that I've heard this, and I don't know if you know more, probably being in the film world, that film people don't like authors coming on set. So he went to the Power of One set somewhere in Zimbabwe. I don't think it was in South Africa. It was in Zimbabwe.
Did he write the screenplay?
No, he didn't. So firstly, they wanted to put a female. They always want to have a female love interest type thing. There was none of that in the book.
Yeah.
Which was fine. He didn't really care that much about it. But he went to the set and they abandoned for the day, and he thinks that they just ran away because the author's going to sit there going, wait a sec, that's not right, or that's not right. So apparently they don't like authors on set. But I think he was happy that it's a worldwide thing, and it was reasonably true to what the story was. I thought it was a little bit Hollywood-esque. Putting the romantic thing is because they're very much a boy's own adventure type thing rather than a romance.
Tell me this though, and let me jump in because purely out of interest.
Yep.
Was Bryce given the opportunity to write the screenplay?
No, I don't think at any point they get their own. Dino De Laurentiis did it. They get their own people, you know. And once they have to buy it off him. I think that I don't think they paid him a huge amount of money. I think he actually told me. I think. Not sure you can quote me, but he did. I do remember him saying, "Oh, they paid me $75,000 for the rights to use, so they could do what they like with it." And that's quite a lot in 1990, 1991.
And Bryce didn't ever say to you over a glass of sherry,
Beer,
I wish to hell I had have had a crack at writing the screenplay?
I think he would have thought he could have done it better. He said, "Oh, look, they did this and they did that," and the inference was, well, if I just had a chance, I could have made this a little bit more realistic.
Well, I bring this up because Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote The Great Gatsby, agonised over writing the screenplay and just couldn't get the screenplay.
Yeah, sometimes writers just aren't. Yeah. It's different. It's like saying, "Oh, I'm a non-fiction writer. Do me some poetry." Screenwriting, I've done a little bit. It's very, very different.
You bet.
From straight. I mean, you would know this, of course. But it's very different, and not everybody's suited to it. There are some people who can do everything. They're amazing, but I don't think he was one. He never wrote a screenplay. I don't think. Or he did write documentaries, but he never did one. He had 3 movies made of his books, or television movies. I don't think he was involved in any kind of the writing.
The screenplay's more descriptive, right? You've got a sort of, he whispers in a subtle tone to them, blah blah blah. All these actions and motions. And so you've really got to imagine all this.
Well, yes, but from a novel, if you produced that novel as a screenplay for the cinema, the film would run maybe 12, 15 hours. So a lot of a novel is going to be, unfortunately, to some writers, the authors, is going to be left on the floor. It's not going to see the light of day. So the talent of a screenplay, taking this novel, like Adam's novel that we're about to discuss soon, if that was to be made as a film, this film would run maybe 15 hours long. So you would have to leave, if you wrote the screenplay to your book, you would have to leave maybe a third of it out.
Yeah.
Or more.
How could I handle that? I
Exactly.
don't know if I can handle that.
Exactly.
But let's look
Well,
at the
Scott Fitzgerald had that problem.
Well, I get it, because you don't, and it's one of the problems that writers have. What do you put in? What do you leave out?
Correct.
And then some guy comes along, an editor, in a book editor, and comes and goes, cuts it all out. You go, no, not that bit, not that bit. Happens to all of us, whether it be film or whether it be a book.
Sure.
I mean, look, just as an aside, the Odyssey, I listened to it on audio. The real Odyssey,
Yes.
well, translated 37 hours. Nolan does it in 3.
Yeah.
What happened to the other 34?
And it was still too long. They're all complaining 3 hours is too long to be sitting on your bum looking at a big screen.
Yeah.
For 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know.
So, well, Adam, I find it interesting, obviously talking to a writer. I know quite a few writers, and a lot of them share with me the journey of one who's writing a biography of someone. Kind of doesn't know where to start the life of this person.
Yeah.
Do you start it from childhood? Do you start it from where do you start the book? You know, and that's what interests me with the writer.
Yeah, well, no. Well, look, it depends on the top. On if it's a biography, you pretty much got to start. What some writers do, and I quite like doing, is a preface, which shows a scene of what the guy is like at 35 or 40 or whatever. Then you start from babyhood or whatever, from being in childhood. I start this one at the age of 6, even though I remember things. Here we go. Where is it? There it is. That's the book.
Yeah.
I started at the age of 6 because it's 1969, and probably because it was the most. And I started with a story about Bryce, who there was a whole bunch of kids on. I don't know if you guys know Gibson's Beach down at What's Its Bay. It's a little one down there. It's a tiny little one next to What's Its Bay Beach. And I thought, what's the most vivid thing that happened to me when I was 6 years? This is the age of Aquarius. It's 1969. Everybody's got hair down to here, and it's great rock and roll, and everyone's listening to 2SM. You'd have remembered it very well.
I do, very well.
But I do remember, maybe at the age of 6, I start to remember this sort of thing. And there was a disabled boy on the beach, and there was maybe 12, 15 kids on the beach, maybe another 20 parents. And Dad knew that he was at my kindergarten, and he listed to the left, he hollered half the time. And we didn't know as kids what to do with him. What does Bryce do? And this is what I start this chapter, because I had to show how incredibly generous he was as a man. So we thought that the banana paddle pop was coming, and because Dad was in advertising, he knew when it was coming. So he goes to the shops, brings back 10 chocolate paddle pops, gives them out to everybody. He just gives it to all the kids on the beach. Out comes the first banana paddle pop in 1969.
Yeah.
He gives it to Robin.
Wow.
He gives it to the disabled boy, and the disabled boy suddenly comes alive.
Yeah.
And I went, wait a second. This is not to say we didn't know if he was even conscious.
Yeah.
He's 6. Now we know that he knows exactly what's going on. He just can't express himself.
Yeah.
And Bryce worked that out.
Yeah.
Now that is genius. And he worked that out with his readers, what they needed and what they wanted for the next 50 years.
And what a moment in a film to reproduce that moment.
Let's talk. Let's do a film.
Yeah.
You can play Bryce.
Well,
you actually look a bit like it. A little bit.
I'd be honoured to play it.
You can play your father's father.
Hey, come on. Yeah.
No, so look, that's how I started off.
Yeah.
Because I wanted, when you write a book, you want something that people will remember and also follows through.
Yeah.
So everything about it was about, for the first bit of the book, it's about his generosity and kindness. Many other things as well. So when you set up the character, this is what the guy is. It's like a film. Same thing. This is what we're dealing with here. I'm in shock and awe because my dad has got this kid who's eating, can't even eat it properly. Can't even eat and he's got him on his shoulders, and this kid's going, this is amazing.
Right.
And we now know that this kid knows exactly what's going on, is having a wonderful time. We didn't know what he was thinking beforehand. Yeah. He did what Bryce did in 1 minute is better than any teacher did in years.
Let me bring a point up, Adam, and we haven't discussed this, and I don't know if it's going to be expanded or not. But you haven't mentioned your mum at all, or or Bryce's wife.
Yeah.
How was that relationship?
Well, it had its moments. My mother. You think about it this way: Bryce was extremely talented. as we all know. But he wasn't all that well educated. Didn't go to uni. My mother was the opposite. At the age of 16, she went off and spent the next 5-6 years in Europe. Learnt some of the languages, was deeply into the culture, knew stuff. My mother read 3 books a week. So she's almost the education and he's the talent. So in a way they work, and so she basically taught him everything he knew, because he was a guy from the bushveld in South Africa. He didn't know anything, and he'd come out to Australia with 0 education, pretty much, but a lot of talent. He taught himself. He's a self-taught kind of guy. Mother was the person that gave him, what do you want to call it, style, cred. She loved Italy. She knew all about,
She knew culture.
She knew it. She'd have loved you, mate. She'd have loved you. But she loved Italian. She loved, Benita. You know what? Here's a funny story. It's like this funny story. When she was born, they were hoping for a son. Guess what they wanted to call that son? Benito. Because he was a top guy in Italy around 1935.
Well, he was. He brought a lot of education to the schools. He brought milk, food. Everyone had a job.
Thought he was a big guy. So they didn't get a son. So what do they call it? They call her Benito.
Yeah.
So every time she goes to an Italian, says my name. What, her name's Benito. They go, Benito, you know.
Did Mum like Bryce's writing style?
Yes, she did. She knew she was. She went the very first moment she met him in the 50s. She could see by the way he talked, the way that he was thinking. This was an exceptional guy. Yeah. She married him for his intelligence and his, all other things, his charisma or whatever you want to. But she knew, and she was the first one to realise, because he was in England, he was trying to get a job as a journalist. Everybody was saying, no, we don't want South Africans, because the British were. With the British, if you haven't got a British education, you're not sort of,
Sure.
He comes along, tries to get a job as a journalist, gets thrown back. My mother says, I don't believe this, you're better than this, come to Australia, this is the place where you're going to get a chance. And she was absolutely 100% right. And within a year, he got a job year or two, he got a job in advertising. And mate, he never looked back. Louis the Fly, everybody knows Louis the Fly.
Louis the Fly.
And he was like in his late 20s, early 30s, he was the top guy at McCann Erickson, and then J. Walter Thompson, creative director. Mate, she knew talent when she saw it. She was smart that way.
Tell me this, Adam. Who did your father love? What writer? What style?
Hemingway.
Hemingway.
Hemingway and Scott Fitzgerald.
Oh, I love Fitzgerald. Well,
he was his favourite writer. I think his absolute favourite writer was of that time, the 20s. A guy called Sinclair Lewis.
Okay.
Who was not so well known, but known. But he was nuts about Hemingway. He said this guy, because it was masculine. Bryce was a masculine kind of writer.
But you're seeing what Hemingway's writing. You smell it.
That's
when he
exactly
talks about a coffee, you smell the coffee,
and you can feel the friends and what they're like and all that. Bryce thought he was God, but he also loved The Great Gatsby and things like that. So he loved the 20s and the 30s, because that's when that's his formative. He was born in 33. And probably in the 40s, those things were still really, really big.
Absolutely.
And he loved that kind of big adventure type story.
Like Zane Grey.
Yeah, exactly. Zane Grey came out here, I believe.
Absolutely.
And he loved those kind of guys.
Yeah. Heroic writers.
Heroic guys like Houston.
Who drank hard, smoked hard.
He was a bit like that. But he looked up to that. He looked up to masculine writers very, very much. And I think in later years, the female critics hated him. We could talk about that some other, because it was very masculine. Power of One's a very masculine book about boxing and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
Interestingly, just as an aside, I think he got the Power of One as growing up, but he added the boxing when he saw what happened with Sylvester Stallone's Rocky. He said, I'm going to add in a boxing element to the book. So that's kind of how it all came together. And he beta tested me on all the side stories. And there it was. It just grew like this.
Boxing was a big thing in the 60s and 70s.
50s, 40s too. I mean, he was looking at all the great.
I had a scrapbook full of boxing stars like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier.
They were the big. They were like, I don't know, NRL stars now or something.
Oh yeah, they're big stars.
But more important, we all love the great boxer and guys like this. You see, But he loved masculine types of writers.
And what about just a curveball question? AI, what's that doing to writing? Because you can dictate. You can be a Hemingway. You can have a Hemingway thought.
Feel about it. Yeah. I don't know. I think the verdict's out on that. I'm really worried about it. Part of me says it's going to destroy writing.
I agree.
A big part of it. The other part says it's so formulaic in some ways. Those who can do above and beyond that, who can really bring out, they will be so obviously better than the AI stuff. Look, I'm a bit worried about it already. I think publishers it's infiltrating publishing. It's already spoken about. One guy had to admit that his thing was done with partial AI, and it got published and it did well. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm reading some of it, and I'm saying, wait a second, this stuff isn't that bad. If it's going to be like this in 2026, what's it going to be like in 2030? We won't know. I don't believe we'll know. And in the end, it'll be a battle of who uses AI the best, who asks the best questions.
It's funny, Adam, I write several stories for a magazine, and I've never thought of myself as a writer as such. A bit of a storyteller maybe. But the response that comes back to the publisher is that people like what I write because they can hear me saying it.
They know that if you can bring a personal thing to it. I mean, I can still tell AI from real, pretty much. But my question is it going to get so good that I can't at one point?
Yes. Now,
I don't want to read AI stuff. I read it on Facebook and I go, oh my God. It's just, it's dreadful stuff. And it's so untrue. I don't know. I would love to have known what Bryce would have thought, but he's not here around to see it. He would have hated it because it's the power of his imagination and the power of your own thinking is so important to everything he did.
AI is artificial. It can't. They need to get it to a point where it becomes imaginative, like a human brain can be. I mean, at the moment, is it going to get to a point where it does become imaginative?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how good it's going to get. I don't know how. It's rummaging through. Who knows how many thousands and thousands of texts. Maybe it extracts something, finds something, and it can do it so quickly that we won't even know. I hope not. I hope the power of our own independent thinking and our own real stories will always shine on. What I do know is that publishers are really taking a lot of stuff, throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, if they're doing that with minor writers, why would they think too hard on AI? And I think that it's already in there. And they're going to just say, in the end, they're going to say, AI cannot reproduce that.
No, I agree.
And it can't reproduce a memoir and a real story. If you did a memoir, there's no way AI could do it. Now, it's interesting, I've checked to see if AI, what it knows, and luckily it doesn't know anything about this, what's in this thing. And that's good, because it means it hasn't stolen it. If it had, Lawyer City.
Just one last thing, Adam, and thank you for your time today. Was there anything about your dad that surprised you? Did you at some stage in your life with him, or not with him even, that you discovered something that he was a lover of some form of art or some form of something like Bushido, the Japanese guitar?
I'll tell you one thing. One small thing that I remember. He was always a writer. But he also was quite a good artist, a decent kind of an artist. And then at one point in his life said, I'm going to do calligraphy. And I went, why? I mean, it's beautiful writing and stuff like that. He did calligraphy, and he got really, really, really good at it. And so if you look at a Bryce Courtenay, when he's autograph, and a Bryce Courtenay autograph, it's a work of art. Because he did it with calligraphy. And that was something that came out of left field. But he combined a little bit of art with his writing. So that was something that when I went growing up, that was that's pretty amazing.
Adam, thank you for that again. And let's leave it with that lovely comment then, a work of art from your dad and from you, my friend. This is a work of art because, as you say, it's real.
It is.
You turn the page and you're turning reality.
Well, I hope people enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. But
thank you, Tony.
But thank you, Adam.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
It was always nice to talk.
Good on you, mate. Thank you. Now we're going to come up in a moment with our second guest for the day, and I thank you for being here, Michael, as well. Vinny needs to have more food and a little coffee before we continue.
Sounds good.
So we shall return. Please follow us, contact us, troll us, comment, join us, subscribe. Thank you.